Losing my dad at the age of 3, my brother was 3, I was 5 years, and he was stabbed, and I didn't know that had an effect. The fact that my mom lost tatam when she was 25, and she had to ask Tate,
Are you comfortable to speak about your journey working through depression and how you were diagnosed with depression and all of that? Yeah,
definitely. One of the reasons my foundation exists is because I'm healing people through my stories, and one of them is being depressed.
How is life after graduation?
Stronger, as you would say. Life is not lifing. The adult world is a scam. University. Imagine ungena university, you're the first person going oya university. Mama akho izixelela ukuthi jonga ndiqhuba ngomthandazo mntanam ngoba andiyazi kwale ndawo yakuyo.
You are watching the EduKnowledge Exchange podcast show, the place where we share, learn and engage with students, graduates and experts on their academic journeys. From personal challenges to inspiring success stories, we uncover the real experiences behind university and college life. Have you ever wondered what truly goes on in the minds of students and graduates? The struggles, the breakthroughs, the game-changing tips that can transform your academic journey? We bring you raw experiences, expert advice, and unfiltered conversations to help you navigate university life like a pro. Hit that subscribe button and let's dive into the ultimate knowledge exchange.
Hi, how are you doing?
Right,
so just to get straight into it, right? Now, can we just go back to when you were growing up as a child? This is now very long ago, right? I'm taking you back to memory lane. We're going down in memory lane.
Yeah.
How was Ndumi as a child? Would you say you were a child being a mameli? Were you a child who was always observed? Or how would you describe yourself when you're hearing it from other people, maybe?
Funny enough, the question I was telling Ohlomla on our way here what kind of a child I was. Very observed, like in the shy, very shy.
Yeah.
And likwala, like very cowardly, because I was raised by my grandmother.
Yeah.
A very strong one, and we environment where a child is raised by the village. So you wouldn't dare do anything out of the way, because you've got a teacher that is going to discipline you. You've got umakhulasa next door that is going to discipline you. And you wouldn't even dare go back home and say, mama, oh, this is what happened, because uzophinda ubethwe. So, so I was very shy. To myself, I'm still very shy. I would say I'm an introvert, but I think because of the stages of life that I went through, like my workplace, been frontline, and the fact that I ended up you have to bana ube
ushumayela
noma uqala ngawushumayela, so ndiyaye ndivuleka ukuthetha nabantu, and so bengingakhange ngikhathaza kakhulu, angikakhathazi nangoku.
Okay. But like going back to what you were saying, Bana, it takes a village to raise a child. You know, it's very rare now in our days to find that a teacher uyambetha umntana or umakhulu wase next door is the one who's disciplining umntana, because you guys used to see it as disciplining, right?
Yeah.
Tina, right now, if a teacher would hit me at school, I know, but I'm going straight to the principal. The whole school is going to have a protest for that teacher to be fired. We're not taking it back to when they were growing up, but it took a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
It could be one of the major reasons why there's lack of discipline in our schools.
Yeah.
So now, fast forward a bit more.
Yeah.
You are in primary, high school.
Yeah.
You are dreaming just like any other kid, Bana. I want to be this, I want to be that. What is it that you wanted to be growing up?
Yo, Jonga, I wanted to get out of poverty.
Cha.
Ukuthi njani, ntoni. I remember I was not even exposed to a career exhibition, let alone a career guidance. I remember because I studied primary school Eastern Cape eCofimvaba, and then I moved again when I was in grade 8. And that was grade 8, but standard 8.
Standard 8 is grade 10, yeah. Grade 10.
So I moved in the Ehlaza. Because benzohlala nomama amakhulu besemdala ke ngongela xesha, and then the mover the attender Saturday classes zase kwalanga kuthiwa St Francis.
Okay.
I remember ndithetha nalo tishara wami bana endibuza the same question ukuthi ufuna uba yintoni, and I was like kuba ndithanda ufunda incwadi mhlawumbe ndifuna uba yi-librarian.
Okay, which is rare,
and he was like, no, akoma labo, you can't, no, don't do that. There's a course that you can actually do, commercial administration, because I'm good with admin, and you could pick up from his dad's and balangayo like meticulously. So he was like, no, the course that is perfect for you. So it career guidance, I only got it for one day. And I went for that commercial administration course, SCPUT. Then it was Cape Technicon, and then I did studies office technology, office management and technology, BTech, which is it was part of the same course. That's why I ended up Glow Environment. And now it was something Ebendi dream.
Yeah. But you know, a connotated layer that is quite critical, right? And our parents nowadays say this to us as well. So you tell them that I want to be a librarian, not no komali up. So now you need to look for something that will give you imali once you start working and all of that. And then you find that Banumdana now ends up doing something that they don't like because of trying to get out of poverty, as you also said. You know, so I think it's really wonderful, man. But then at the same time, okay, now you're in varsity. How's life like? Are you getting funded by NSFAS? Because I mean, this is back then. Yay. Are you getting funded by NSFAS? Where are you staying at res? Because now, when we are funded by NSFAS, you stay at res and life is good, you know. Just give us a bit of a backstory of what was happening back then.
Okay. Just to play on your comment around career guidance. What I always tell parents, especially kule age yethu, ukuthi don't try to live your life through your child. Right? Support your child, whatever. Find a passion yakhe. Because it's such a pity that I found my passion at the age of 40. Ukuthi, actually, you are a graphic designer I do my website, I do everything by myself. Okay, I do everything by myself. I come to like zange ndafundisa ungena eklasini yoba graphic design. And I wish bendiyazi le lonto then, but I'm always feeling ukuthi kwahlala phansi kwahlelwa ngempilo yami. So I'm living my life the way it was supposed to be. I'm not regretting anything. So advice that I would give any child, no parent, don't live your life through umntana wakho, and as a child find your passion. Man. That's where the money is at.
Bazali, don't try and live your life through abandwana. That is one thing that, even if you don't listen to the entire episode, that's one thing that you should take from this. But now going back again to my second question, about how everything was in university and NSFAS and everything.
Jonga nangena university ne. Imagine ungena university, you're the first person going oya university. Umama akho izixelela ukuthi Jonga ndikuqhuba ngomthandazo mntanami ngoba andiyazi kwale ndawo yakuyo. Through his dad's I got a bursary. Yakwa-tech, but only covering my tuition. But andakufumana kuTEFSA. uTEFSA ngelo xesha andiyazi ngoku NSFAS yatshintsha. You trying to show my age up. Then ngelo xesha ndamfumana uTEFSA, ndabe ndihlala eres because
Okay.
the circumstances were even like singandiallow uba ndihlale ekhaya because sibaninzi 1-bedroom house and so ndaenda apha ndohlala ke ngoku eres ndamfumana kuThefsa wam uThefsa ke sana oqala ndamfumana ndathenga ipeyinti for ukupeyinta ekhaya ndathenga i-radio ndathenga i-TV usebenze kancinci for mna andikhumbuli ndisithi ndizikhupha ngemali kaThefsa xa ndinijongile ndikuba ndiyarhalela uba ngabantwana because sana thina it was like uqala usebenza ngale mali kaThefsa.
But Ima, how much was this money xa ukwazi ukwenza i-painting, buy a radio, buy TV? How much was it?
Ngoko it was because xa ndigqibayo mna ndabe sendiowa almost 70 grand uThefsa 3 years yonke so I think ngoma 20 something thousand. It was a lot of money then and it was covering isikolo like res plus your tuition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, because
And in once off, it was not intra-month. No, it was a once off.
So you get 20,000 rands, let's say go Feb, right? And you're supposed to use that money from Feb until November.
Yeah.
Sure. That's crazy. That's crazy because Tina, we get to 1.750, right?
Yeah.
And we're complaining, but that's not enough. And then you guys would get this lump sum and be able to fix your homes, as you say, you know, improve your homes and do all of these responsibilities, of which I'd like to feel or think, but is quite selfless of you. Because, I mean, you're a student, you need to buy groceries, because I am sure the one thing that we have in common as two different generations is that as much as you get this money and you've got responsibilities at home, you still got responsibilities to yourself, to get yourself groceries, to get yourself toiletries, to, you know, just the essentials at least. So how are you managing in terms of buying groceries and still having to send imali kowenu and help and improve ikhaya lakho?
I was umama wayendincedisa in terms of indaba grocery.
Okay.
Because he not that actually because all they wanted for me was to get an education. And all I was saying, you know what, let me just do phakathi to a point where, okay, instead of zobhatala isikolo throughout tuition for the year and then I'm sorted and I know ukuthi the only thing that I'll need from them imali yebhasi or but ibhasi is sorted because ngihlala res, then I'll get grocery from a res and we were doing communal land sasiphekisana. I would say sasingabantu abaphekisanayo, but I worked as cashier kwa Woolworths. And sasinxiba kwa grab. So grab uba una 2 jeans ne 2 tops, you are sorted for the summer. And then jacket is 2 for the winter. And then we sorted
for the year.
For the year. I can't need bantenge every month. I think when those times I don't ndiqala ngoku sendimdala ukuthi
you need to smell good.
You know, grocery list there's into zothambisa all the time because only dangerous almost never slina yakho. Nothing else.
Which is quite different to how Tina we live, because every perfume iphumayo, we're like, okay, we need that perfume because every girl out here is going to be smelling like that scent, and I also want to smell good, you know. And another thing that we are facing right now, which I'd like to ask if you guys were also facing, is the issue of pressure. Because you're saying now you need 2 jeans, 2 tops, 2 jackets, you're sorted for the year. Tina, there's always something new that's coming out in terms of fashion. So we always want to keep up, even though, you know, back home, they aren't doing that well. But because of the society that we live in right now, and when you come to campus, you find, hey, it's clearly not Beyonce, Tina, every day, a class. So, you know, those kind of vibes. Did you guys have that pressure, or was everyone at that point at the same level?
No, girl. Pressure will always be there for the generations to come. ne-generations edlulileyo. I remember mna ekhaya sasibaninzi sasihlala as cousins, bantwana, so babeze sisters. That's why we don't have this thing of sister or step child. Wonke umuntu ungu-brother. No. I remember sasimane sikhalaza kumakhulu ukuthi hayi ubani wakwabani yena batya amagwinya ane-ration. I-ration ke yabona. Umakhulu wami is like, yabona laa muntu utyelela gwinya ne-ration, udomu ukufa kafundi akamame nomamela ucingana nalaa gwinya. And I grew up with that ukuthi mara umakhulu wami unyanisile because abakho clever nyani aba bantu bafumana yonke into kumakwabo, and lo mntana usuka kwabo kunevenkile and akapasi kakuhle, and I'm doing well. So I think that kuyanceda ukuthi man be content with imeko endikuyo. You always get the Beyoncés, but what is kuyancaphisa ufollowisha uBeyonce that you don't know ukuthi wenzani. Abanye you realize ukuthi nkosi yami, the way abafike ngakhona, or the way they are finding the lifestyle. Ekugqibeleni even naye, I remember meeting one of my friends later on ukuthi athi hey Ndumi, I wish nandithe nca kuwe esikolweni ndixelela because ndaleqa ezinye izinto and look where I am.
Waleqa life basically.
Yeah, understand. Yes. So you just have to bana ube content, uzazi ukuthi ungubani, and then i-pressure izofika idlule mntasekhaya, and not every fashion is for you.
Yeah. But now you also mentioned the fact that when you were working, how were you balancing work and school?
Because busy bendiyikesha, so bekune shifts. So I would look at the shift ezijongayo ukuthi okay, azihambelani nobana demand yomsebenzi yesikolo, because even my mom uncedile ekundigayideni. Ngoba I think bendinayo nento erhalela ukuba imali kuba bendifuna ukuphucula ikhaya, bendinayo nento bana eso sikolo sisandenza lantoni, but at the same time ifakwe into bana isikolo sizandisezindaweni.
Yeah.
So ikhona temptation. I mean andizothi ndihambe like kakuhle all the time.
Yeah.
There was a time I remember ndisiya kwaSpain ndiyofuna uba i-waitress phaa. But ndafumana xa ndijongayo apha sizi-waitress sifolile, and ngoku ndathatha lo msebenzi undafumana umntu apha oza-order amanzi angandiniki netipu. Yaqoba hayi, this is a waste of time. Ndamka kusatrainwa ndathi jonga, this is waitressing is not for me.
Yeah,
no. And umama was like, no, focus on your education yakho. Focus on your education. Ndinike indawo yam as a parent. I'll worry about your well-being, your family, wena focus on studying. And I will always be grateful for that.
Okay. Varsity, you are living life as a part-time, or not a part-time, full-time student, but working part-time, and then you graduate.
Yeah.
How is life after graduation?
Stronger, as you would say, life is not lifing. The adult world is a scam. But ekumandi shem, I guess yonke level ubomi comes with the pros and cons, and each challenges are there to shape you and make you who you are. I remember even nayo ukuphangela kwami, it was all about ukukhupha ifamily yam enhluphekweni. Until 35 years later, when I had a depression, and I met with my psychologist, and the psychologist brought a lot of izinto that mina bengayazi ukuthi ziyan-affect. Yeah, I understand that it was all about you've been doing everybody but not yourself. Now that changes when I had the depression and I'm starting doing me. I started being, I even followed my name, Teresa, number 2, the Mother Teresa.
Yes.
Yeah, to a point where but at the same time I'm disabling them. because ngokuba depende kum
Be-dependent
and
kakhulu.
kanti funeke ngoku ndiba develop to a point, hence ke ngoku even the foundation yam, I'm doing that, the personal development, because if I'm doing everything for my child ndiyam disabler instead of bana ndibe ndiyamkhulisa. So yeah, life imandi because andiyakwazi uphuma ndiyaphuma ndiyozithengela
Free.
indlu
Yeah.
ndathengela indlu, and I made mistakes in the process. Ndachata, yeah, now umjola dealt with me. But ke,
Yeah.
here I am, yeah.
It's so funny when you say Jola dealt with you, because as unmarried people and as the youth, right? And I think everyone else would agree with me. It just looks like, or rather, maybe it could just be me. When you look at someone who's married, you just think, oh my gosh, they just became an adult, got married to this person, and they never had to deal with Izinos of Jola and all of that. But I actually wanted to ask about, so you've graduated, and do you use your degree? Like, did you go and work for Lendo Uyifundele?
Yes. Luckily, and into endiyifundeleyo is that I'm not a specialist. But I am a specialist, but I'm not a GP. You understand? But in commercial administration, I can work in any industry, in any field, because administration is the heart of any course, any career. And it's such a pity that people take it for granted. But you will see, even uba poor in administration, even in your studies, if you are poor with your administration, awuzazi timetable yakho iphi, awuyazi ukuthi attenda nini. That's the poor administration, and uza end up
Yeah, man. We now work. You find out that now you say this is 35 when you found out when you had depression, right? And how did the family react when you tell them, Mana, okay, now I'm going to start doing things for myself, but at the same time, I am not saying, Mana, I'm not going to be doing anything for you, whereas this time around, I'm going to be enabling you to do your own things or to be independent from me. How does the family take that, seeing that they were a bit, I'm not going to say they were too dependent on you, but seeing that they were dependent on you, how do they take it now, Banawena, you are pulling off?
One thing I can tell you, some of the decisions you don't have to communicate. Zifuna action. Because it was a process even for myself to discover, no, you are actually killing yourself instead of helping yourself. So firstly, I had to accept that they are changing now. And even my psychologist did a lot of work up, because I was admitted to a psychiatric clinic, Shalapa, almost 2 weeks. And I had to think, kakulu, my kids are 5 years old, no mama, I'm not sitting with my kids full time, because ndigule kakhulu with before I realized that I've got a depression and into aso yonke lonto leyo. Ndigule kakhulu for 5 years, ndine migraines. And my husband and my mom, gabona bakhulisa abantwana bam, that's why I'm saying, and I don't know my kids the first 5 years yabo. And I had to sit down and like, is it worth it into bana ndizibulala in that way that I can't even be there for my own family?
Yeah.
Because I'm absent being a mom and a wife and a sister and a daughter for that matter. So I had to take hard decisions as ngekolula, because when you change your behavior, it's not easy. It comes with a lot of resistance. Kulomdu wenza kuyi changes at the same time kolake side. And if what I'm doing and affect her emotionally and physically, it's no longer worth it.
Man. I think, because for me, right, I don't know if you would be comfortable to speak about your journey with depression and all of that, because I always feel like speaking about your journey and how you found out that you had depression and how you went through it also helps someone else who might not even know that they are dealing with the depression, because we know that functional depression is something that is real, because you can function as a normal person and everyone will think that you're okay and you are the life of the party, but at the same time you can't sit alone with yourself, right? So I really find stories of depression, because I know they're all different, they'll never be the same, but are you comfortable to speak about your journey working through depression and how you were diagnosed with depression and all of that? Yeah,
definitely. One of the reasons my foundation exists is because I'm healing people through my stories. And one of them is being depressed, and our tagline is talking is healing. I've healed through talking. I talk about it everywhere, and Shem, I know what my family would like. You can't
Don't
be talking
share
about
too much.
like depression.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm a certified one.
Yeah.
I'm a certified one.
God,
So,
yes.
depression, I call Lula because, and it's a sifo esingapheliyo. Ne, you get to learn to live with it. Either we embrace her or and I would advise ukuthi umuntu makazama ukuyilwa because sozo nje uyilwe iphele. Sometimes you get to a place, izolo I couldn't wake up ebedini, I was depressed. Ndiziva ukuthi ndiyaziva ngokuthi man ndiphume ngo-1 ebedini. Being a depressed person kunzima because ukuhlamba, just ukuhlamba, it's a dialogue. Getting out of that dark place, because it's something that I don't wish for anyone for that matter, because it's a space SCB, and if you are not strong and you don't have support, you can easily be drawn to that space and end up usweleka, because you need a lot of abantu that are very understanding, that are very supportive. And I'll always be grateful to my immediate family for being there for me, because even as Gawin, you can't even talk about in the depression, but I'm grateful I was the one to share my story. And some people came out and say, because I spoke about depression openly. And what I found out, that is why in a depression, and the depression is not caused by one thing. When I went through your process as a psychiatric clinic, I realized that there were childhood traumas that I was not aware of. Losing my dad at the age of 3. My brother was 3, I was 5 years, and he was stabbed. And I didn't know that had an effect. The fact that my mom lost that when she was 25, and she had to ask Tate, I was born in Cape Town, but also end up as because and then I lost my fiancé of 14 years. Process leyo at the same age as my mom losing utatam, and the same time when he paid ilobola, so move on to babini, sesilungise ukuthi sohlala sobabini namluza, same time ukuthi emsebenzini indlela eniphatheke ngayo, and going through into bana ndiyathwasa and ndikhula as a Christian child, ihamba njani into ntwasa ne Christian child, must be into as needs that I've never thought ukuthi that botherisha, but they are actually bothering me. And they ended up to depression. So that is why like sometimes when people talk about depression, by bidance and stress, and by tata carelessly like that, and what I would like into bana ndicho ebantwini ukuthi be sensitive, be nice, we say Cook Foundation, let's just blend, because we don't know what the next person is going through. Omnia is going to eat depression because it's been a week. and when I take it into very carelessly, and it could be a tip off. Yeah, but I was laughing at one of my friends, a city, you know,
no.
Relating that, I was like, something that made me into banandi bending with depression. You understand? Kuba sendigcwele, and I didn't know ukuthi ndigcwele.
Man.
I can't say what is the cause of depression, because I went through a lot of things. Ezinye izinto I was not aware ukuthi the injustice, ezinye izinto they were out of my control and everybody else. Emsebenzini indlela nandiphatheke ngayo, nandiphatheke kakuhle at the same time nandingaphatheka kakuhle. You understand? So zazininzi to a point ngoku ndandigcwele, and kwakwenzeka nje into eyi-one. I can't even say ukuthi yintoni actually. I can't say, I just skipped off. But I can't do it anymore. And again, imagine this strong person who's a stronghold in family, who is doing when's a birthday surprise, breadwinner, and then boom, she's gone. She can't do anything. I remember one of the sessions ebabuza psychologist ukuthi nifila njani that uNdumi elapha, and the answer was sifilisha silahlekile because lo muntu besenzela lento. And yena what he said kubo, even the family, ukuthi next time don't do that. Relationships must be go inner because the pressure got too much. And I won't hold my family accountable because bebengayazi. One thing umuntu akuthathe for granted because uyayazi. Yeah, but it's one thing udubana bebengayazi ukuthi amani sayazi ukuthi wena uNdumi meeting bezingaqala uNdumi engekho. Yeah, understand the family. So now I'm like, you know what? If I can't make it to the meeting, guys, meeting my kale, bakhona badala kunami, bakhona ba, it's okay. And sorts of changes that I had to make, but I can't be loud because there's a thin line between uba, uba arrogant and straightforward. As a news just not head, you just want to get change.
Yeah. But from what you've told me, right, and what you've just said right now, like literally when you mentioned everything that could have been the build up of what made you crash out, basically, literally it just brought shivers down my spine, because I'm like, how does one person deal with all of these? And then you say, Bana, you've lost your father at the age of 5, and then at the same age that your mother was, you lose your fiance. Like, because now if you looking at any other person, you're generational curse, because history is basically repeating itself. And then you'll find, but now even when your kids grow up and one of them finds someone that they feel like they're going to get married with at that age, it might even trigger away. Not just you, but also umamako, so it's a lineage. And man, and like, and my thing is, right, what I always say to people, in a world where you can be anything, choose to be kind.
Yes.
Because you never know what the next person is going through. Powerful. And this is not even in spaces whereby, because it's not about societies, spaces where in large groups. It could literally just be someone who's passing by. Exactly. When they nod their head, in acknowledging hi, because we all know when you nod your head, it's hi.
Yes.
Or each gesture that they use is basically them saying, I recognize you as a person more, and just try and return that, because you don't know how much it took from them to just do that small little gesture, But I appreciate the fact that you're sharing that with us, because it felt like I was the one who was saying it now. Glenba, I just feel so, as much as you say, Bana, you heal through speaking, right? But just listening to you is like, whoa. Like, whoa, you can't have gone through all of that as one person. You're just one person. It's the first life. We're not even on your second life yet. It's your first life. And you've gone through all of that.
Yeah.
But can I ask, from where you're standing right now,
Yeah.
and you look at universities or tertiary
Yeah.
in general, could be university, college,
Yeah.
look at the journey that you've went through, and then you try and compare it to not necessarily the syllabus, but it could also be the syllabus if you're also up to date with that.
Yeah.
But just try and compare how it was when you were still at school
Yeah.
and how you are perceiving it now that you are outside and watching it from outside. Yeah.
If I had to banandi choose between now and then, I would choose then.
Why?
Or then, when I look at each generation, I feel like as much as nikwi space where you are more free, abanye, but they are free, but they're still dumb. Yeah,
We are
well,
freedom. We are freedom.
and
Yeah.
you don't get to appreciate ukuthi hey Nkosi yami ngasuthi yazi Nkosi yami yazi, do you know what we've been through in order for you to be where you are right now? Bese generation more I think kuba ndisithanda space esi-relaxed. Yeah, understand. I'll choose that space. Ebuhlungu is the fact that you can't even walk on the street freely. Then we could
It was
walk.
during that era.
Yeah, I understand. Thina besilala naphandle ebusuku, ulale phandle kuba kushushu, there's no aircon, but ulale egarden and ulala right through akho nto zakwenzekela. Thina besisiya, that's why kuthiwa uzawuthoma uthole umbhloma emlanjeni,
Yes.
because kulapho sidibana khona emlanjeni. Singena in the river with ubhuti wami,
Yeah.
anxibanga nxibe nje ipaint and akaboni omnye umuntu, ubona
Just
usister
the sister,
wakhe.
yeah.
Yeah, understand. And when I'm saying ubhuti wami, not literally my brother, but next door neighbor, bakati akaboni umuntu that can rape, ubona usister wakhe. And nina kunzima nobana nihambe freely, as much as we are in a freedom era, but there are always pros and cons, because poverty, there was a lot of poverty then, but there was a lot of freedom. As much as bangoku, I don't think any lamba the way sasilamba ngakhona. Yeah, understand. So I feel good. Every generation in a battle zayo, and but what I love about the current generation and is the fact that niphila ubomi benu, like umuntu uphila life wakhe, and yeah, I can express yourself freely, and mhlawumbe you might not end up having as depressions heavy zethu, because you can get to say mama yabona ngela xesha noma enguwango yenzileyo
Yeah.
uzo end up usfeli smoke, because kaloku ndithetha nomzali omdala and awubhekshati awuthini, kanti ngoku ni more free, niyakwazi uthetha and you get to choose ikheso oyithandayo. Akho zazinto bana une-pressure yofundela ukuthi mawukhuphe ifamily engxakini. Mina andingomama ufuna ukuphangelelwa ngumntana, by all means imeko zazimfuna uba mandimphangelele umama, and andizisole ngaloo nto leyo. But ngoku at least nine-guidance whereby umuntu can be, even mhlawumbi i-racism iyawuphela ngani. Yeah, understand. Into ezininzi zizotshintsha ngani.
Man, that is so. Because I'm thinking, ne, as much as Tina, we are hungry. Our hunger is different from your hunger.
Yes.
Nina, you guys had literal hunger, like iswin fen lambile, right?
Yeah.
As well as the hunger yophuma entsogolweni.
Yes.
Tina, our hunger is just to get the next Gucci bag. If you can afford a Gucci bag, socks are back,
Yeah, man.
that is our hunger, to be rich,
Yeah.
so that, and I think I've said this before, whereby the youth right now does things for themselves. In terms of, bana, I'm getting my degree, and then I'm getting myself a tonton, and then I'm getting myself a tonton. Family, we'll see later. We'll see. Now, that's if I want to see for them.
Yeah, I understand.
So, we've got, as much as we are free and all of that, I think, Tina, we are more selfish than your guys' generation. in that perspective rather. But like in terms of, and also it is really dangerous in with because right now you are limited as intombazana as to where you can go, and what's even more hurtful now is that it's not just amantombazana who get raped, because I'm not saying back then there was no rape, but it would, for example, be someone that you don't even know. But now your own brother, your own father could be the person who victimizes you. It could be your perpetrator and all of that. But now we are very limited in terms of where we go. Now, I for one would literally love to sleep outside, because summers in the Western Cape, oh Father Lord, in summer it can get really hot, and I'd honestly just love to like sleep outside, just be outside and maybe until 10 o'clock. But I mean, our circumstances right now do not allow for any of that. But like, with your social life, how was your social life in high school? Not high school, in tertiary. Like, would you go out? Because we've got the band, Zeraitis, Namachoni. But like, how was your social life? Would you go out with friends? You know, and all of that.
And expose Gogo because I've always maintained this church girl side. But yes, okwe tukuphuma ke wazohamba uyobukela ibhola. I remember sasi walker from Kokole Reza sanofika kuthiwa yi-Afghanistan yase CPUT isemva kwe Rochester. We walk from all the way from Rochester because sasikulosa nabantu base CPUT, and then walk to Newlands.
No.
Walk to Newlands. Engekho Uber, kangekho.
No.
And that's socializing yethu. Uyabona ndaya kayi-one anothe bar disco. The bands ngoku ndaya kayi-one ndafika ndozela ndakhutshwa because kaloku ayondawo yabantu abanjeya. So i-socializing yethu was more like ndandingumuntu wesport ke xa sodlala ilanto i-netball, ndingumuntu othatha ii-activities ke. I've gained weight when otherwise bendinguzuzi ngexesha lokhula kwami. Okay. So there's activities ezinjalo ke, i-Mango Groove, i-Sarafina, sasingabantu aba-active physically.
We only know Sarafina, by the way. Everyone in this room only knows Sarafina.
I'm sure ancient history, I'm sure, but go back to Nzauba. Yeah.
So now tell me, in terms of, so you know how our generation is, right? The Gen Zs, and Gen Zs not wanting to get married but vibing throughout their whole life, and women nowadays are starting to become more independent. Not saying that independence is a bad thing, but like there's a certain level of independence that a woman should have. Not that I should have, but like, ideally, for example, I would like to be independent, but also just have a life partner, for example. How do you feel about how our generation is just taking everything in terms of not wanting to get married, women wanting to play the role of the man, and all of these other things,
I was saying the other day, Uti, it's such a pity that normal has become abnormal, and the abnormal things have become normal. Because truth of the matter, you cannot be a man whether you like it or not. Umzekelo olula, one woman was asking me, and I'm like, ndibe busy nebele ndiphinde ndibe busy nemoto. No, I can't do that.
Yes.
Umsebenzi wami is to nurture a child. And ndimkhulise. Utata umsebenzi wakhe kukundilungiselela imoto ukuthi imoto ihambe. Ayitheni into bana just because they are driver that makes me a man. I'm able you can still be independent ukwi-relationship. And umtshato, xa sendithetha ngale language that I want you guys to understand, umtshato is an officialize mjolo. Ne? Because
till those days.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And what we are saying even ngoku ndithi kumye nam, mamela xa luphelelwa uthando usasebenzisa lwakho.
Bluetooth.
Because realistically, you are not always in love.
Oh.
You are not always in love. But ke ngoku umtshato uyaninceda ukuthi uzise structure ne-stability.
But our generation is always so quick to leave.
That's
as
the
soon as we
thing.
get that feeling of bana. And also I believe, when you've come to that stage in a relationship or marriage where you guys feel like you guys don't love each other, but you still like each other to stay together, then someone new always comes up, and then they think that person is better. And then our generation, the moment someone new comes up, they're breaking things off with this one. Doesn't matter how they felt, or they forget all of that. It's like that never existed, and then they on to the next thing,
That's the
so
thing.
yeah.
Kungabi na stability ukuthi ndifuna ntoni, ne? Because xa ungena emtshatweni, as much as awusana criteria, ewe ngoku 1921, I was looking for Tyrone. Yeah, and I was looking for.
God, not a Tyrone.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm okay with my Tyrone because now izinto endizifunayo ngoku zazohlukile. Andisafuni the outer side. Ndifuna indoda endithandayo, enzandihlonipha. Everything else sizokwazi ubana sini sibheke phambili. So the minute uyazi ukuthi wena ufuna ntoni as a person and what are you bringing on the table, and akutsho ukuthi the minute ungayifumani uyahamba, you understand? And by all means, I'm not promoting into yobana umuntu makanyamezele abuswa, you understand? But we are knows ukuthi the minute umuntu endifaka impama, that's a deal breaker for me, andizoyihlalela loo nto leyo. But are you telling me xa niqala uba ne disagreement uyaphuma uyahamba? Is that what you're going to do with friendship level? Is that what you're going to do with relationship level?
Hey.
No. It can't be touch and go. You end up losing. I mean, Jonga. When I look back, hey, I can't even count. You understand? And I be mind level. It does. You do get to that point where you look back and ungabi proud. So I'm praying for more stability for each generation yenu, unyamezelo, but yonke into in a thin line. Kukhona unyamezelo uqomba yabana ngoku sisibhanqa ngoku. Yeah, understand? Kukhona unyamezelo uqonda into bana kusekhona apho sijonge khona.
Yeah. But now I know we haven't touched on your kids or anything, but can I ask, what is, so looking from how your mother raised you, right, and as well as your grandmother, of course.
Yeah.
Looking at how these two strong women raised you, what is it that when you take from them, that you've learned from them, that you are now using kwabantwana bakho when raising them?
Abantwaneni bam, actually, I'm trying to let them be. You understand? As much as I'll guide them pa na pa. And the best thing that you can do for abantwana bakho is to be a better version of yourself as a parent and a healed mother. Because if you're not healed, you bleed on everything, on everyone. Xa ungakho healed, uthukisa wherever you go. Abantu toxic nje wherever you go. So the best thing that you can give your kids is to be a healed person and a better version. And akukho ezininzi into endinozithetha kubo, zininzi into endibaxelela zona ukuthi, you know what, try to be stable, man. And not everything is like, yeah, understand? And we enabled you guys as well to be who you are. We as parents, when I'm saying, next door, I'm enabling you to be disrespectful. Yeah, understand? So we cannot put a blame solely on you, on the generation. But what my spiritual mentor said to me, which I found it very profound, what we are busy trying to give our kids what we never had, but we are not giving them what we had, which is respect, which is love.
Man.
So siyaphinde siyabuya ke because we were never ready to parent you guys.
Hey.
Ziyabuya. So nathi it's a trial and error. Parenting as much as being a child is a trial and error. And when athethe ukuthi andiphendule uqomba kuthi khoxo uqomba Nkosi yami, only if you knew ukuthi le ndlela uyithatha ndayazi ukuthi uzokuphelelisa phi.
Man. And I know, Tina, we don't want to hear that thing, Wana. I was also once a child, and when I did this, it resulted to this, because we always have the answer of, that was back then.
Exactly.
That was it, so we always have that answer. But I think I just want to thank you so much for honoring the invite, and also thank you for sharing such a big part of you and being vulnerable with us. You know, we really appreciate that a lot, and we basically wish you well, man, for your for the future and everything else ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Ndikhumbule mva.
Yes,
as much as babetsho ukuthi I'm young at heart, but I get to appreciate myself as well, which is very important. As a person, you need to look back and you say, you know what, I've done well.
Also, before we forget, you have a foundation / organization, Simply Blended.
Yes.
If we want to follow and find out more about Simply Blended, where can we find you?
I'm on Facebook. I'm challenging the young men that I'm going with there. I will go TikTok because since I worked as a social media coordinator as well, I'm very wary of getting into a social media space when I'm not able to maintain it, because I need it consistent, and I've been keeping back to post up until I've got a team that can do that. But personally, Ndumi Makado, I occasionally book there, but the foundation, was Simply Blended Family Foundation. My focus is on a boy child and a girl child.
And to you guys, thank you for watching this episode. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe on our channel, and please don't forget to like this video. Thank you. We out. Bye.